Hello, everybody. I want to welcome you back to the Dynamic Decisions podcast, where we explore the strategies that drive successful decision-making in the world of business. Why? Because the best decisions come from great conversations. I'm your host, Tisha Cable, CEO of C Model Data, and today we have an exceptional guest who has just led one of the most impressive transformations in restaurant technology. Her name is Kat. She is the Chief Operating Officer at Presto Phoenix, and Kat is currently spearheaded operations for what is positioned as the largest American drive-through voice AI provider with explosive expansion plans across major restaurant chains. Kat, welcome to the show. You've been a part of an incredible transformation. Can you tell us more about Presto Phoenix and how this new chapter is positioning you for even greater success?
Thank you so much, Tisha. What a warm welcome. I am delighted to be on the podcast. And yeah, Presto Phoenix is just in such a fantastic position. We have always been only a restaurant technology company. Our focus is on restaurants. My background, my career before Presto was always in restaurants. So we love restaurants. We love operators. We understand their business. And we know that that is really going to be a differentiator in winning this market, because restaurant companies want to do business with people who get their business, who understand that connection that they're trying to make with customers, who understand that you only have so many opportunities to get share of wallet from your competitors, and that this is really a pennies and dimes business. And so every transaction has to be a great customer transaction, and your product has to have an ROI that makes sense within the four walls of the restaurant. It's really exciting. We have fantastic customers. The technology is changing all the time, which is a really cool space to be in. And I think we're really well poised to win this thing.
I love the description of a pennies and dimes business, because whether people know it or not, every business, the one that requires people, is a pennies and dime business, because
Yes.
it's my pennies and my dimes. Okay. So
when you're looking at the middle of the P&L, it is shrinking. And you look down at the bottom and you're like, oh, everything you do impacts that bottom line. And so it has to make sense. Ideally, you find something that builds in profitability for your business, which there are no silver bullets. There are no silver bullets left in this game. So you have to be able to save a little bit of labor. You have to be able to add a little bit of check. And if you can do that and be creating a great experience for your customer, that's a win. But it's holistic. It isn't like, oh, do this and it'll just immediately, the dollars will just drop to the bottom line. None of those ideas are left, in my opinion, for this industry.
100% agree. So you've got some fresh capital, a renewed focus on AI innovation. What's been the biggest operational challenge that you face while scaling through this exciting growth phase that you're in right now?
Well, that's such a good question. I think there are two items, and they're kind of on opposite end of the spectrums. One is being ready to scale, but don't get ahead of yourself. And that's all about using your capital wisely, right? So you want to have the upside forecast, of course. I love the upside forecast. I want the upside. I'm going to manifest it. You want to have the upside forecast, which would tell you, invest in hardware, invest in people resources, invest in all of these systems and tools that will give you economies of scale to knock it out of the park at 2-3x where you are right now from a deployment standpoint. And I actually know that my team can scale. Presto has previously done business with giants in the casual dining industry like Brinker and rolled out to all of their locations. And so we know we can do it. We know we can scale. But you have to mitigate this idea of investing ahead with what if the upside forecast takes a little bit longer? And our CEO, Guy, he has been quoted as saying, people overestimate what AI can do today and they underestimate what it can do in the future. And that is so true. And so you can't build your scaffolding too high. It can't get too much higher than the building you actually have. And so figuring out the right level of scaffolding so that you are ready if you actually do crush the upside forecast and it all materializes without investing so far ahead that if it's a little bit slower, if the adoption takes a little bit longer, if some of your customers don't expand as quickly as you expected, you haven't overinvested too much where you can't maintain the level of business that you have. So I think that's one, striking the balance of investment against your forecast. And then the other is bringing your customers along. You have to stay so close to your customers. And this is something that I'm lucky because for me, that's not a challenge. I love our customers. Sometimes I joke at Presto that like, I actually understand our customers more than Presto sometimes because like, those are my people. That's who I was for my entire career. And so I hire a team of fantastic people who all have backgrounds in the restaurant business and they get it and they want to just spend their days talking to the customers, but you have to bring them along. You can't be so focused on your product and the cool things you do and maturing your product and creating all these great features. And you forget to bring your customers along and they're still like, actually, I just want to change this one phrase, or I want it to be more predictable than this, or I want to make sure it's handling my menu properly. You can't leave them. Does that make sense? With the
Absolutely.
pace of the AI progression, you have to be sure that you're bringing them along and remembering that for that customer that goes live, we work a lot with heavily franchised businesses. And if you're a franchise customer, even if 50 other restaurants in your brand have already gone live, if this is your first go live, you're the first one that you're paying for, that you're going to see that charge on your P&L, it is a brand new product to you. And so you always have to drop back down to your table stakes and the foundation of your business and be re-rolling it to every new franchisee. And you can't get so far ahead of yourself with the excitement and the maturity and the scaling and the expansion that you aren't bringing that brand new customer along because it's their first franchise restaurant. It's the first time they're seeing it with their customers inside their four walls sitting on their P&L. That's
Right.
like a new pilot every time.
That's
So
right. You can't walk in there and be like, I know exactly what's going to happen.
yeah, you can't just like turn it on and just be like, yeah, and these are the cool features. And if there's some instability with this, don't worry about it because it's giving you this great upsell thing. For them, they're like, are my customers going to like it? Are my staff going to like it? And so it's exciting on the one hand because we're all so much more comfortable with AI than we were. How many of us using ChatGPT or Gemini in our daily lives a year ago
Right.
versus now?
Right.
But it still is new for a lot of people. And it is a experience they want to protect. And they're excited about like, ooh, I can control what this AI says to my customer, which I cannot control probably this hourly team member who is working in the drive-through. You can't control what they say to every one of your customers. So they're excited by that, but they're also nervous. Like, what if my customers don't like it? It feels very
Right.
personal to them.
Well, I'll let you guys know I like it. I went and had AI voice take my order and I was excited about it. I mean, I thought about the implications for someone's job and that didn't make me feel great, but my experience was awesome. So,
Love Well, and I also want to tell you the implications for someone's job. I think there was a time when California minimum wage was rising and everyone was worried. I mean, pennies and dimes business, and now you're talking about a $20 hour minimum wage for these QSR restaurants. And so when that was coming, and for our listeners, if the minimum wage goes to $20 an hour, you actually are having to give a raise to everyone in the building. Because if your previous supervisor was making 21 and now an entry level employee is making 20, everyone's wages go up. So it's a penny and dime business. And now suddenly this is happening. Everyone was looking for the like silver bullet. I'm going to put this in and I'm going to pull a body out of my restaurant. And I'm here to tell you that what we learned alongside the restaurant, nobody is pulling bodies out of their restaurant. No one is losing their job because of AI. And there's a few reasons. One, there are very few QSRs right now who can staff their restaurants where someone's full-time job is standing there with the headset on taking orders. And that's all they do. They're not also making drinks, bagging, taking your money, helping the counter. That job does not exist anymore. No one is overstaffed in QS. And so what you actually have done, you're going to shave some hours. If you used to bring in 2 people early or 3 people early, you might just bring in 2 people early and bring in that third person an hour later. You're going to cut someone when business goes down faster in the evening. But that's not someone's whole job. That's like a couple hours a day. So what you're doing is that person who used to have to manage the customer at the window, manage the customer at the counter, bag the food, now they can trust that the order is actually being taken.
Right.
And they can still do those 4 other things.
Even better than they were doing it before. So it's like you improve the quality. The other thing I see as a potential opportunity with this is to actually improve other elements for the store. So if you think about the one particular location, all of a sudden, a location now can use its people wisely,
Yes.
and get more benefit out of them. So maybe there's some upskilling into more strategic decisions. Oh, people don't like to wait for 5 minutes before they get to the counter. I mean, you can start to look at minute by minute things and improve them. So I kind of think that's kind of an awesome way to think about the future of this, as opposed to just kind of staying into, oh, the other jobs are going to be lost. What can we do better? Hey, so you're launching industry first products like menu unification, pure AI, while building market leadership in the competitive voice AI space. When you're facing these high stakes decisions and you have limited information, you're pioneering new technology, except, right? What's a framework for making those critical calls?
That's such a good question. And I wish that I could just be like, here, take this and go apply it to your role. But the first thing that comes to mind for me, particularly when you're saying like limited information, because none of us have a crystal ball. So we cannot see the future. We know a few things. The computers are going to win. No one is sitting here being like, I think we'll actually have less technology in 20 years. Nobody thinks that. So the computers are going to win. We're going to keep moving forward. This is happening. So then you have to ask yourself, where am I trying to get to? The limited information that I have right now, who am I getting that information from? What is the source? Either the who or the what. What is the source of the information? And the best case scenario is the source of that information is someone you trust who is aligned with and understands where you're trying to get to. And that could be a partner, that could be a customer, that could be a member of your team. But if you have high trust with the source of the information and that person is aligned with, understands where you're going, you actually are going to be okay with a low level of information, with limited information. If you have an abundance of information from a lot of different sources and many of them are not trustworthy, that's actually worse. Because you feel like, okay, I have to sift through all of this. I can't ignore any of it. And then I have to try and just make the best decision I can. I am fortunate enough to have a really strong C-suite. And so we're sitting in that cockpit and I look to my right, I look to my left, and I trust the people that I'm in that cockpit with. And we're flying this plane. And we've all decided that we're not going to strap on our parachutes and jump out. All right, well, then you're on. And we've got an awesome group of Prestonians in their seats in the back, and we've got awesome customers, and we're all bringing them along. And there's going to be some turbulence, but no one's jumping out. So we're going to fly this thing. And you make that decision, and you make it with your team of people that you trust. You execute on it as quickly as possible. You bring your team, we call our team Prestonians, and you bring your Prestonians and your customers along, and then you quickly pay attention. Was that just a quick drop, or are we going to crash this thing if we stick on this course? And so you just pay attention. You don't make the decision, throw it out there in the world and then be like, whatever. You stay with it. You stay intentional. When we're making major shifts in our product, we're having a 15-minute stand-up a day of just that core cross-functional leadership group every day for 15 minutes. Are we still on course? Is what we thought was going to happen what's happening? Or is this where we all thought we would be? Did anyone end up where they didn't think they would be? Let's quickly sync on that. Okay, I'll talk to you in 24 hours. And so you're staying very intentional and you're not allowing anyone to escape the fold. And that is, I'm talking about major changes or moves across the product. And I'm saying that myself as COO, I'm in that room. My head of customer success is in that room. My head of tech support and deployments is in that room, along with the CTO, the head of engineering, PMO, and our brightest engineering leads. And that's the group. It isn't engineering in a silo. It isn't ops in a silo because we own the customer relationships and we know what they want. It's that group together every day, checking in with each other? Are we moving where we thought that we were moving? When you're maturing a product in real time in production, you need that sort of closeness.
You do. And you need to surface the hard questions. And sometimes, like, engineering can be the best for asking like a super hard question. And in
Yes.
operations, we're like, we figured that out already.
Well, and you have to be not
Yeah.
afraid to say the thing. And so, like, I've definitely been in the room before saying, like, this is not what I thought would happen. And then you'll have sometimes the smartest person in the room being, oh, I did think this would happen. Or sometimes you'll have them being like, yeah, I didn't know what would happen. Like, I wasn't sure. There's a practicality to saying, well, we're here now. What are we going to do about it? And
What
that
do we do?
never look back.
Right.
But you can spend your whole day Monday morning quarterbacking. You can spend the whole time being like, well, why didn't you tell me this is where we're going to end up? Or why did you know and we didn't know? Or how can we put 10 more layers of testing protocol in place so this doesn't happen again? You want to have a healthy postmortem. You want to have a healthy look back. But you also, if you're trying to move this fast and you have live customers that you're bringing along, you also just want to be practical and say, okay, but we're here now. So from where we are, what do we want to do? What's the next best decision that we can make? Not spend a ton of time judging the decision you just made.
I like that. But we can learn from those decisions just based on the simple fact that we're testing and looking at those outcomes. I like that. So as Presto Phoenix sort of emerges stronger with its strategic repositioning and launching cutting edge AI products, how do you retain institutional knowledge during this rapid growth phase that you're in, especially when you're reshaping an entire industry?
To start, it's the people in the room, Tisha. I mean,
people
in the room, right?
Yes.
So people in the room have the institutional knowledge. But I've already talked about there's that cross-functional crossover. There's the 6 to 8 people that are meeting every day. There's the C-suite, there's leaders. And so it's the people in the room. But if one of those people didn't show up anymore, you wouldn't lose the entire company. It's not all in one person's head. But to start, it's the people in the room. And then if you are lucky, you hire some really great people who also know how to document and love to document. We have some amazing project managers in our team right now, like project leaders with project management background, and they just document as they go. And I'm here to tell you, it does not have to be fancy. I mean, we are a Google Suite company, so we use Google Meet for all our calls, and we have started just clicking the Gemini button on every call. And that means you have a transcript. There are AI tools out there that can make it very simple for you to be documenting your business. Turn on the Gemini tool, turn on the transcript, make sure you've got some strong people that want to document and move it forward. And if you're wrapping process around it, so you've got the people in the room, you're making the decision, you're clicking the Gemini button, you've got the transcript, and then someone is saying, I'm going to wrap a process around this. And that process can be as simple as a worksheet. Mm-hmm. We're going to put everything we learn in a worksheet, and here's the columns, and we're going to categorize it. Or it doesn't have to be fancy.
That's right. So it should match where you are. Your processes should be relevant to where you are and what compliance is required. If there is none, right, and you're just in this rapidly scaling, then spreadsheets and these things actually work well. I tell people this all the time. Businesses come in and think they need these big giant systems. And it's like, no, you need a little system to start. You're a little company, you need a little system that costs little money.
Because you get ahead of yourself with that big system and you know what you need. You have to hire someone to maintain that system because you can't figure out how to use it or like get the information you need out of it. And so when you are rapidly scaling, when you are in a growth or a maturing industry and you are lucky enough to have customers and team that you're bringing along with you, institutional knowledge is the people in the room using the AI tools that are available to you and wrapping process around it so that it's repeatable.
I like it. Thank you so much. To our audience, I want you to think about your own experiences in the restaurant industry. Are there decisions that you've made that significantly impacted your operations? We'd love for you to share your thoughts with us on LinkedIn or other social media using Dynamic Decisions Podcasts. Okay, I want to ask you,
yes,
your Presto Phoenix is helping restaurants increase revenue, decrease labor costs, improve staff productivity, and you're doing this in a time where industry is embracing AI solutions. How do you balance operational efficiency with rapid scaling needs to maintain market leadership in particular?
So to start, you heard me talk about the scaffolding on the building, right? So AI, we're trying to build this skyscraper. We think we could be as high as the sky. Here's all the cool, shiny things that we could do. And that is awesome. That is great.
We love a good shiny thing.
We love a good, shiny thing. But you have your base of your building, and the base of the building is, does it work?
Come on, in real life, in real life.
And this is actually one of the very few operationalized, meaningful AI experiences right now. Did it take my order accurately? Was it a friendly and efficient experience? That is the base of your building. And then you keep moving your scaffolding up as you are building that building, but you can't get too high if your foundation is not strong. So that is the balance, honestly, Tisha. Every new franchisee that goes live with this product in their restaurant, and it's day one for them. It's day one for that Taco John's location in Minneapolis, or it's day one for that Taco John's restaurant in Wyoming, and it's their first time with this product. They don't want or need all of the bells and whistles.
That's right.
They want to know, is it taking my order accurately? Is it a good experience for my customers? Is it efficient? And then they'll follow you all the way up the skyscraper as long as the foundation continues to hold, because they then come to us and are like, we have Gallardi, which is Wiener Schnitzel, is one of our brands.
Congratulations on that.
Yes, they are great. And they're fully committed to AI being live in all of their restaurants.
Yes.
And they want then, okay, well, it does do all of those table stakes things. Let's build this skyscraper together. Let's talk about upselling. Let's talk about how we can engage that customer differently. Let's talk about human sounding voices and different ways to answer questions. But you always have that with the control of, I don't want an AI that can hallucinate in my drive-thru, right?
That's right. Hey, you're at Wiener Schnitzel and they're like, do you want a burger?
Oh, that hamburger stand, which is a Wiener Schnitzel. But yeah. And so that's the way that you balance it. Don't ever lose sight of the table stakes of your business. Build the skyscraper, but the skyscraper cannot suspend in the air by itself. It has to be on that foundation of, does it work?
Okay, let's explore. This is my favorite part of the podcast. We're going to explore your decision-making style through a persona assessment. I'm going to ask you 4 different questions that represent different decision-making approaches. And after each one, I'd like for you to tell me how much asking the question that way resonates with how you actually approach your decision-making. And you'll have a scale of 0 to 100%, but 100% total across all 4. Okay? Okay, here's the first one. The first one is called the feeler. It's a value-driven leader. This persona prioritizes alignment with core values and mission, often weighing the human impact and cultural fit of decisions alongside business metrics. Here's how they would ask a question. When I'm facing a major operational decision, I ask myself, does this align with our mission to help restaurant operators succeed in today's challenging economy? Even if implementing full automation is more profitable, I need to feel confident that we're truly enhancing the restaurant team's ability to focus on exceptional service and food quality rather than just replacing human jobs. How much of you resonates with that style?
Okay. Is 10 the highest and 1 is the lowest?
To get 0 to 100% across all 4 questions, so you can answer 0 to 100%, but you have only 100% across all 4.
Okay, so I wanted to say like 100, but I don't know what else is coming. So right. I'm going to say 50.
50% feeler. Awesome. Okay. Ready for the next one? The next one is called the planner. It's a strategic visionary. This persona focuses on long-term implications and future-proofing decisions, always thinking several moves ahead and considering multiple scenarios. When making a strategic decision, I ask myself, what are the long-term implications of this choice for restaurant operations over the next 3 to 5 years? I need to map out how labor costs, customer expectations, and technology adoption will evolve, ensuring our solutions position restaurant partners well for multiple possible futures in the QSR industry.
I think that is a space that is a lot of fun to live in, but it is not practical for the product we're talking about right now. No one could have envisioned where AI would be today 5 years ago. While we have a vision for the drive-thru of the future, and I'm super excited to get there, this can't be the day-to-day play looking 3 to 5 years out. So I'm going to say 10%.
Okay, 10% planner. Okay, here's our next one. That's good. So the counter is called the challenger of assumptions. This persona naturally questions conventional wisdom and looks for the contrarian opportunities, often finding success by zigging when others zag. When evaluating opportunities, I ask myself, what assumptions are we making about drive-through operations that might be fundamentally wrong? What is everyone else in the restaurant AI space doing that we should question? I tend to dig into why drive-through processes work for a certain way and whether there's a more efficient approach that the industry just isn't seeing. How much of you resonates with that approach?
15%.
15%. 15%
I'm
counter.
holding out hope that there's
Okay.
a fourth one that is going to resonate with me 25%, Tisha.
Okay. You ready? Here it is. This is called the data driver. It's evidence-based decision maker. This persona relies heavily on metrics, analytics, and concrete evidence to validate decisions, preferring proof over intuition. Before making important decisions, I ask myself, what does our operational data actually tell us about order accuracy, upsell rates, and labor optimization? I want to see concrete metrics on customer satisfaction, average order values, and operational efficiency that can validate or contradict our strategic instincts about voice AI.
Yes, you are just speaking to my spirit. I knew data. I was sitting here answering these questions being like, data has to be out there somewhere. 25%, Tisha. 20.
Okay.
And I actually don't even want to go back and change anything. I feel like I that's it.
That's good. Okay. 50% feeler. That makes sense for the conversation we had and your expertise in the restaurant industry. That kind of, you could hear it there. 10% planner, 15% counter, and 25% data driver. I like it. It's a very balanced way of thinking about decision
Thank you so
making.
much. I will take that. I really cannot allow 10% planner to get out, especially to my husband. He would be like, that is not true.
Well, it's in different decision-making personas in different situations.
Decision-making personalities, honey. Gosh.
Yes, it's okay. So thank you so much for doing that. So you have been on quite the journey from 20 plus years in restaurant operations to leading operational transformation at your current company.
Yes.
Your CEO actually praised your strategic vision and leadership qualities as instrumental in driving Presto. If you could give one piece of advice to an aspiring leader who is implementing transformative technology in a traditional industry while managing rapid growth, what would it be?
Stick close to your customer. If that person, that leader that I'm advising, does not get their customer just intrinsically, then hire someone who does and make that person your partner. That will help you more than anything else, because you cannot create a technology just to create a technology and overlay it on an industry, especially one like the restaurant business, which is so full of heart and so tied to a challenging P&L. A lot of our points of contact have been with their companies for 20 years, 30 years, and it's not even strange in that industry. And so I would just say, stick close to your customer, really know them. And if you don't have that in your spirit in your history, that's okay. You're probably the smartest person in the room who's going to build this great product. Hire someone to be your partner who does.
That's awesome advice. And it's been such a pleasure having you on the show, Kat. Thank you so much for being so open and sharing your expertise in this way. I find it to be inspirational. Can we share with our listeners where they can learn more about you and Presto Phoenix?
Presto.com.
Okay, boom, just like that.
Check it out. Go check it out. You could also go to your local Wiener Schnitzel or Taco John's and select other restaurants whose logos would be on our websites. And yeah, this was really fun. Thank you, Tisha. I enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Remember, the best decisions come from great conversations. If you've enjoyed this episode, please do subscribe, rate it, share it with your network, and let's keep the conversations going on social media using Dynamic Decisions Podcast. And until next time, keep questioning, keep growing, and keep leading with purpose.